first phase is the purchase, and $70 million is is for that first 11.4 miles. That's the appraised value of the.
That's
of
just
the
to
land.
purchase it. That doesn't build it.
So
maybe that'll go down.
So far we have $39 million from the jurisdictions.
Sorry, two realtors here, so we're like appraisals. I'm like, anyway.
All for five.
You're listening to Everybody Loves Naples, an unfiltered and educational podcast about living in Southwest Florida. We're your hosts. My name is Natalie Perez-Benatoa.
My name is Lance Martinicchio. From the best restaurants and things to do to our local real estate market, we're sitting down with local business owners and community leaders to provide a deeper understanding of what makes Naples, Naples.
Now let's get the show on the road. Welcome back to Everybody Loves Naples. We have a very special guest today, Deb Orton, with the Bonita Estero Rail Trail president and co-founder.
Yes.
We abbreviate it as BERT, or the acronym.
We affectionately call it BERT, yes.
BERT and Friends of BERT.
Yes.
So we have Deb here today. It's going to be a really fun episode because there's something extremely exciting coming to our area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Being such an outdoor place. I mean,
right.
For those people who don't know what BERT is, can you give us a little bit of
I'd love to.
Background?
I'd love to. Bonita Estero Rail Trail is a 14.9 mile rail to trail project. We're still working on the purchase of the rail corridor. We're getting closer every day in the ability to own that right of way.
Okay.
The right of way, once owned by the jurisdictions, we would go right into construction of a 12-foot wide trail that would replace where the rail line is right now. Rail to trail projects are just, they've got a coolness factor, but they've also got a safety factor to them in that they don't cross very many roads because they're rail lines, right? So you've got 130-foot wide rail corridor with a 12-foot asphalt trail that replaces where the rail is.
So it would be asphalt. That would be going over where the railroad.
Like
so do you actually have to take out the railroad, or you just go on top of it?
Yes, they will.
Okay.
They will. They'll take it out. The owners will pull out the old rail, and then the state of Florida, FDOT, will put down asphalt.
Okay.
I'd like it to happen that fast. It won't happen that fast.
But
Quick question, though, before we get into everything.
Yeah.
Has this been done anywhere else?
There are, in the United States, there are 5,000 miles of rail to trail projects.
Okay.
In the state of Florida, there's about 700 miles of rail to trail projects.
So it has been done.
It's been done a lot.
yeah, because
It's
railroads,
been done a
right, are
lot.
not
Yes.
as common. I mean, I don't even know the last time that there was a train on that railroad.
It's been
Do
more
you?
than 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been more than 15
So it's just been
years. There's
sitting
people
there.
that will say 20. I don't know. I've only lived here 5 years. So,
That's right. Yes. You moved here in 2019.
yes, moved here in 2019. Bought a house that the neighborhood butts up against a rail line.
Okay.
Asked my wonderful realtor, is there a train that goes by here? And she says, no, there's no train that goes by here. It's been 15 years. And so I turned to my husband and I said, this is going to be a rail to trail.
Right, just like that?
We're going to make this a trail.
Wow.
Yes.
So this idea is 2019, you thought of
That was
this.
my idea, but you know what? Had it already been, the county had already started on it.
Oh.
So they had already started and been doing a feasibility study, et cetera, for it.
So Lee County already had
I'd
this
love to
idea.
say it was my idea, but it wasn't my idea.
Well, at least you got the people involved. It sounds like you started Friends of BERT, which
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about what that is and how, if locals can get involved.
Of course. Friends of BERT, what we learned as we were getting started on this whole journey was we have to get the community involvement in order to move projects like this forward. It's the only way to move something like this forward.
People. Yeah.
And we learned from people that are in Sarasota County, maybe you've heard of the Legacy Trail that's in Sarasota County. Those folks were saying you have to get community involvement, and you have to have a passionate founders and a passionate organization
And she's
to
sitting
do
right
that.
here, everybody.
Very passionate.
So a friend of mine and I, Emily and I, founded Friends of BERT, and we were off and running. And little did we know that this was just something that people really want, and it's
desperately.
just we need it,
We
right?
need it.
It's so unsafe
Yeah.
to ride our bikes and be
Oh.
pedestrians in Lee and Collier County. It just is.
And
It
we have
is.
such a
It
beautiful climate to be outside. I mean, all of
Yes.
our activities and things to do in our area is outdoors. Yes, golf, pickleball, boating. But a lot of us
But
don't
the
do any
driver-
of that.
But the drivers and the bikers don't get along too well.
Right. And the runners. and the
Everyone thinks they're the
walkers
right of
and-
way, too.
Yeah. And to just get
Yes.
outside in nature. We
Right.
need more and more of that with the demand
Yes.
of young families and things to do. I mean,
And Southwest Florida, especially Lee and Collier counties, really don't have trails.
No.
Other parts of Florida are ahead of us in terms of putting in not only rails to trails, but just beautiful trails, long trails. Sarasota County has 21 miles with the Legacy Trail. Those are the kinds of things that attract tourists, raise our price of our
Property
homes
values,
and
yeah.
property values, and bring safer places, just like you said.
Yeah.
Cars and bikes interacting with each other isn't safe. And so taking bikes off of the roads, for the most part, we can do that with trails.
So would this be obviously walking, running, bikes? Like what other vehicles would be allowed on this?
It'll be non-motorized.
Non-motorized.
Non-motorized vehicles.
So electric scooters, electric bikes.
You know, there are...
I mean, they're huge. They're
they are
everywhere.
huge.
Right. Some of what we call electric bikes are in fact motorized bikes.
Right.
So they shouldn't be on there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they're not going to be, because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
guarantee that.
Some of them, you just pedal, then they automatically kick in, and then you can
Right.
kind of turn it off. but-
Right. Those are the types of
motorized vehicles that are not allowed.
well, if you're riding and you're getting an assist from an
Yeah.
electric bike, that's absolutely allowed.
Right.
So there's 3 different types of electric bikes that would in fact be allowed. That 4th kind, which really isn't a bike, it's a motorized vehicle,
Yeah.
shouldn't be allowed. I have a personal opinion. This is not law or anything. I think it's really more about how fast they're going. So, I think it's more important that we try to get people to slow down
Yeah,
and
I
go
agree.
less than 15 miles an hour. That probably would solve most of our problems instead of going 30 miles an hour on the sidewalk and knocking people over, right? So that's a personal opinion.
Right. On the topic of speed, though, I mean,
Yeah.
how is one to enforce this? If somebody does come with an electric bike, with a friend who has a regular bike and they're biking, is there going to be staff there to, I mean, how is that enforced? Just curious if that's been brought up.
Well, it's those are the kinds of things that we're learning from our
Yeah.
friends up north that are dealing with these kinds
Yeah.
of issues. You really do have to have enforcement. You have to have the ability to ask people to slow down, and you have to
Right.
have the ability to enforce it.
Some
Yes.
signs and
Yeah,
a
you
fine.
start with education.
We're
you
so far
start with-
ahead of everything.
I
know.
mean, it's questions, right?
I
I
would
know.
love to have this problem, actually. I would love to have this problem.
Yeah, all these little details, because I think maybe someone's listening and they're like, well, when can we go? Or when is it going to be time? And the way I understand is that we are still in the raising money phase to purchase.
Correct.
So there's a price tag on this 15-mile rail trail. What is that price tag?
Well, we're working on the first phase of it right now.
First phase, okay.
Which is 11.4 miles. It'll go from
Yeah, where's it
Wiggins.
start at?
Yeah, so if you go to the southernmost point, that's Wiggins Pass Road in Collier County, and the 11.4 miles will go to Estero Parkway.
Okay.
So that's a good chunk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 11.4 miles. At the southern end, it will connect in. You were talking about being at Livingston. It will connect to the Paradise Coast Trail that's also going to be under construction. That will
it.
go all the way down Livingston down to Marco Island.
Oh,
So
okay.
it will be
Wow.
quite a great, really nice,
So that's going to be
wonderful.
I mean,
Yes.
what's that going to be called then at that point if they all connect? And I mean, is it
Well,
going to keep the
great
BERT?
question. Great
I'm just
question.
like-
It's all part
Oh.
of a longer trail called the Florida Gulf Coast Trail.
Okay.
Which will go Tampa to Marco Island. So that legacy trail, BERT, the Pinellas Trail that's up
Okay.
in Tampa, all of these are sections
gonna
of a
all-
longer trail
Wow.
that's being worked on by the state, a regional trail called the Florida Gulf Coast Trail.
And you guys all communicate together
do.
to try to make it work. And
We
how are
do.
you having success in this area? I imagine. I mean,
Exactly.
it's a collaboration effort.
Right.
That's really cool.
Right. It is really cool. In fact, Trust for Public Land is the organization that's helping us to acquire. When I say us, I mean the jurisdictions. I mean
Sure.
Collier, Bonita Springs. Oh, got it up on the
Got the
screen.
map up,
That's
yeah.
right. The
Might be
Collier
quicker to
County.
walk than drive sometimes up to Tampa.
I know. Seriously.
yeah, let's get our
Definitely
bikes.
from Naples to Bonita during rush hour.
Oh, I know. And see, that's another part of it, isn't it? That so many people do need to commute on their bikes
Yeah.
or walk, etc. And we need to provide a safe method to do that. So many people are trying to commute on their bikes on 41 on Tamiami,
I know.
and it's really unsafe.
It is.
So
It's unsafe
we
to
have-
drive on 41.
I know. Seriously.
Isn't that
Let
the
alone walk
truth?
and ride a
Yeah.
bike.
Yeah.
Exactly. Gosh, I was, it brings back a memory. I was in my brand new electric vehicle driving along, and I've only had it for a few days, in fact. And a truck cuts over, takes out another car right in front of me, and I thought that could have been me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, thank goodness. But it's just to your point, it's really crazy. The
Yeah.
traffic is really crazy out there.
Well, I
So-
have to applaud you because the website for Friends of BERT is very cool. And
Thank
you
you.
have renderings and on there of the
Yes.
map, and you just have a new interactive map.
Yes.
So for all of our audience, definitely check that out. Where can they find the website?
So it's Bonita Estero Rail Trial.com.
Okay.
And when you get there, you're going to see the renderings by clicking on a booklet that's there. You'll see an interactive map. When you touch the interactive map, you'll see all the wonderful planned and already happening kind of attractions along the trail.
Yeah, there's like points of interest, and one of them
Yes.
is right by our studio here, being in the Wonder Gardens.
Studio Marco.
Right.
Yes, and and then they have the Arts Bonita. I mean, there's
Yeah.
tons on there. It's a really cool
Wonder
feature.
Gardens is an interesting one too, because you know that they're renovating the Wonder Gardens. It's just such a cool place. Wonder Gardens is such a cool place, and it's getting better. They've got grants to do a lot with the Wonder Gardens, and their new CEO built a rail to trail in Wisconsin.
Oh,
Oh.
there you go.
And so when he saw that rail to trail right there, they, in their renderings and in their plans, they have a connector where you'll be able to enter
Oh, how
the
cool.
Wonder Gardens directly from
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the rail
I
to
hope you
trail.
made a large amount of a pledge. Wrote a check right then and there. Here we go. Because I know that's a big part of this project is the
donations.
money. Yeah. The money, right? I mean, locally. How is that going? I mean,
Well, it's going extremely well. So if we think about first phase is the purchase, and 70 million is what is for that first 11.4 miles. That's the appraised value
Okay.
of the
That's
of
just
the
to
land.
purchase it. That
That's
doesn't
to
build
purchase.
it.
So
maybe that'll go
so
down.
far we have 39 million from the
Sorry, two
jurisdictions.
realtors here. So we're like
I know.
appraisals. I'm like, "Duh." Anyway.
All for
Yes.
five.
Keep it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So the owner may be watching, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
of course that's worth it.
Yes, it is totally worth it.
But I feel really good about the last few weeks. The last few weeks has been, and what's coming up in July has really been a boon. So you've got Estero pledging 15 million, Bonita Springs pledging 17 million, and Collier County by the end of July they'll have a vote for another $7 million.
Okay.
And we went up to the state level, and at the state level, we just were added to the list for Florida Forever to hopefully purchase the rest, right? So that's a possibility. We're waiting to find out how much Florida Forever will put into it. So then you start to talk about some of the pledges, et cetera, that we're getting for the construction. We will construct it with SunTrails dollars that are at FDOT level.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to accelerate and not wait 5 years until you have this thing, then we're also asking for pledges. Should we be able to buy it, then we have a lot of people pledging money to say, hey, we'll help the first phase of this, which is the study and design. So we're already started a capital campaign to raise money for that.
Okay. And that's actually active right now where
Correct.
people can. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to ask you, because this is all
Yes.
very impressive. So you said you moved down here in 2019.
Correct.
And so what's your background? How did you get involved in this, and
That's a great question.
We probably should have started with that, Deb. We apologize.
we have a good editor, so
I know, yeah, no. It's just so exciting that,
It is exciting. I guess recreationally, I'm a cyclist.
Okay.
And so, hundreds of miles per week on my bike forever
not the
and
electric
ever.
bike.
Not the electric bike, my road bike. When we moved down here, I was disappointed that there really weren't safe places to ride.
Your realtor should have told you that.
No, she kept that from me, didn't she?
Yeah. She didn't
So
disclose.
not a cyclist. She wasn't a cyclist. But so it became imperative to me to find places that I could go from my home to ride, and it's very difficult to do. It's very unsafe. And Naples Daily News this past week put out an article. I don't know if you saw it. It was called "Bicycling Through Peril." And so they just put that out, and they quoted the FDOT injuries and deaths from cycling. You probably don't want to include this in your in this because we want to
go
keep
for
it
it.
positive, right?
No,
But it's
everybody loves Naples sometimes.
Yeah.
that's right. But I think there's a lot of people, Naples Velo, Naples Pathways Coalition. There's a lot of entities are trying to make it safer here to ride and walk. A lot are. And we're going to be successful in the next few years to have trails, to have safer and safer ways to walk and to ride. So I have complete confidence in Southwest Florida that we will. It's just taking time to do that.
Yeah.
And it takes community involvement, and it takes standing
That's just
up
it. Yeah.
and saying, we can do better.
Right.
Because we can.
I mean,
we
it's
can do better.
expensive to live here, right? And if
Yeah.
there's a lot of recreation, but the kind that we can all do, like bike and run and walk and what, it's seems like it should be a little more accessible.
Right.
And as you're saying this, I'm like, yeah. Why not?
And
I would
it
be there every
happens-
day.
Count Natalie.
Yeah, for real.
It happens
You're a good
everywhere. It's happening everywhere, though. I mean, and I think there's and why can't it happen here too? I mean, I guess it's the people that live here often come from elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
I come from North Carolina, and before that, Washington State and Oregon. So I've never lived in a place, and we vacation in Michigan. I've never lived in a place that didn't have safe places to ride and those trails. I've never lived in a place that didn't have that.
Have it, sure.
And so people got down here and they're surprised that it isn't here, and this is an opportunity to make it happen. And we believe very strongly that it will. It's.
I mean,
going
it sounds
to
like
happen.
it. Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt, actually.
Have you had that moment yet where it's like, wow, this is going to happen? Are you almost there?
I think last week when I went up to Tallahassee and testified in front of Florida Forever Committee, and they voted unanimously to put us on their funding list, that's when I had that moment.
Great.
I said, this can really happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, and it needs to be done. I mean, it just makes sense, obviously.
Yeah, well, I would think too, the businesses in the neighborhoods. I mean, we sell real estate, so our heads are like HOA, whatever. But I think that they would pledge for this and maybe make a donation. Doesn't that affect them? I mean, I wonder if there's any reserve studies for things like this to improve.
Go to the HOAs with all their money.
I mean, they don't have a ton of money, but I'm thinking like even big corporations. We were talking about a golf course earlier. Some may not want this trail, some may. But are you finding that there are extra funds that businesses and corporations like that are willing to give you?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that what's important to everyone, and that's why we're calling our capital campaign pledges.
Okay.
They want to make sure that it's actually going to happen. So they want to make sure that we can close on this deal by March of 2026. That's the closing date.
Okay.
Is the end of March
Is there
2026.
a realtor on the deal?
Yes,
Close?
there is.
Okay.
Yes, there is.
More than one, I'm sure.
So that close is being
Who's the
negotiated
seller, by the way?
Trust for Public
Are they
Land
paying
is
a buyer's
the
right.
agent commission, or-
Yeah, Trust Republic. You can probably
Trust for
make this
Public
happen.
Land. Yes, they're the negotiators of this deal, and helping to drive the funding too. But so I think what we're trying to do is to ask for pledges so that if we can get out there and we can get $1 million by March of 2026, we could go right into the next phase of construction and not have to wait years until the money comes from the state to do that.
So
Okay.
you have a month, or I'm sorry, a year, a little less than a year
Yeah.
to March of 26.
Well, we've already got a couple 100,000 that have been pledged.
And this is complete nonprofit. This is all, everything.
We are a 501c3. Thank you for saying that. Friends of BERT is a 501c3. And so, yes, all donations are tax deductible.
Okay.
Corporations.
You hear that?
We've just gotten
It's a
started.
write-off.
We've just gotten started, Natalie, on this project in terms of a capital funding campaign. Just started last week.
Oh, wow.
So we're learning along
Yeah.
the way, and we certainly have a lot of people that have already shown an interest and already pledged.
I can imagine. I mean, I definitely want to at least help get the word out.
Right.
Because I think it's amazing what you're doing, and I would love to see this down here.
Yeah. Huge selling feature just for the area itself.
I agree.
If there are 70,000 people that are within a 10-minute walk of the rail to trail. So those are the kinds of things that you say, wow, just think. You could just walk out and be on this beautiful greenway. That's one of the features too, is that it's so wide that we can put in trees, we can put in grass, and we can make this a really beautiful park as well. Then there's parks along the way, right? So you think about downtown Bonita Springs and Riverside Park. It's right on the trail, right? What's occurring in Estero is really pretty remarkable too. The rail to trail goes right by all of the recreational and sports complexes that they're putting in, and then goes over Estero River. They plan to put in more kayaking there at Estero River. So it all along, there's all these wonderful attractions that are already being planned and financed by the local governments.
So if we were to get a bigger picture of this deal, let's call it a deal, you have a willing seller who's giving you a price, and that's not the hiccup. The hiccup is getting the state to approve this. Is that right? And raising the money, getting the pledges.
Right. Raising the money. Okay. I'll tell you.
Like what's step one, I guess? Like when's,
Well, I think step 5 is probably where we are.
Okay.
That
I
is. I
didn't mean offense by that. I meant like as far as okay, this is on its way.
Well, we're waiting to hear from Florida Forever. We'll probably know in the fall.
Okay.
How much they are willing to put toward it.
Okay.
So we'll have the $39 million. How much more is Florida Forever going to do? Then we'll understand the gap.
Okay.
And how to fill that gap.
And then purchase and then construction.
Correct.
Maybe next year.
Construction will take it'll take some time. There's a lot of environmental studies, et cetera, that need to occur.
Yeah, that's no easy task.
Yes, you know about that.
You got to move things around.
Yes, you got to do stuff. You got to do stuff. That's right.
Okay.
So do you have a date in mind for an actual completion end of where you see this whole project?
Cutting the
Yes.
ribbon.
Cutting the ribbon.
Yeah.
Best case scenario or worst
I think the
case?
best. I think projects like this usually take maybe 10 years. And that's what you'll hear people say. That's what people that are listening to this will say is, I'll never even be alive to see it, right? We think we can accelerate that to 3 years after the close date.
Okay.
If we can continue to pull forward some of the funding. You're
in the right area. So.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So that's what we're hoping for is that would be, what would that be, 4 years from now?
2029.
Yes, yeah. And then the outside would be 5 years. So 2030.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's...
It's right around the corner. It's
there
crazy.
will be people that...
2020 was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And 2030 is 5 years from now. So
Right.
She's very good at math.
I'm very good at math. But when I think of 2020, I also feel like it was yesterday. Like,
I know.
it's been 5 years. Time moves quickly.
Right, it does.
Maybe not for the founder of this. I know it's been you've
to
done
me
a lot.
it just feels like a blink of an eye.
Oh, great.
Because we've been, heads down on it. There are people that have lived here a lot longer than I have that see this project as something that's been going on for 10 years.
Gotcha.
They are right about that. So the idea to build a rail to trail is really more like 10 years old or 12 years old.
Right.
And they'll say, gosh, this has been going on a long time.
And you're bringing it to the close.
We are, because the community is.
Yeah,
I don't want to take a lot of credit for it. I think the community, our Bonita Springs City Council, the Village of Estero, Collier County, they're the ones that are really getting behind it and making sure that it happens.
Yeah. I mean, clearly this is going to benefit, I believe, my opinion, our community.
Oh, gosh.
How is it going to affect our economy locally?
Yes. Thanks for asking that. Again, I'm thinking because we're sitting in Bonita Springs,
right.
We think about Bonita Springs, we think about Naples, we think about Estero, Fort Myers, having a corridor that would connect Fort Myers to Estero, to Bonita Springs, to Naples is a real, as you get longer and longer, as you get past 12 to 15 miles, that's when you start to see an economic impact that's really quite huge. 9 to 12 to $14 million a year in terms of a boost in economy and the building of those ice cream shops and coffee shops and breweries and other places along the rail to trail that occur.
I just see a bunch of realtor sponsored ads.
Oh my gosh, on the whole trail. Yeah, that's one way to make a pledge.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So
Lance is first.
We get that data from the Pinellas Trail, up near Tampa, and we get that from Winter Garden has a beautiful trail there. Winter Garden, if you haven't been to Winter Garden, it reminds me so much of downtown Bonita Springs, historic, etc. And the Legacy Trail, all of them have done studies to say, what have we been able to accomplish by putting this in economically, safety-wise, and people that can use it. So users are, the clicker is going on all of these in terms of how much usage it gets to. So it's hundreds of thousands of riders per year that use these trails.
So that's great, Deb. Now, for our viewers here, why don't you tell them how they can, get involved and where they can go to look up and do more research. And so. I
would love it if folks went to bonitaesterorailtrial.com and first just click the join button. It's free.
To join.
And you just put your email in there and begin to get, maybe every 2 to 3 months, you'll get an update via email about the progress of the trail. You'll have to suffer through seeing my mug on there
please.
every time it comes to you. But so we do frequent, maybe every 2 to 3 months, we'll do a big update. Our next update will be probably in September because we're expecting to get some big news right about that time. We can do that. If you want to donate, you click the donate button. And
It's right on
there's
the website, the
It's
donate
right
button.
there on the front on the
We'll put the link in the description.
homepage. Yeah, and there you can look about, well, what about a $25 and or no, I'd like to pledge, etc. If you respond to those emails and you say, I've got a question, guess what? That question comes directly to me and I answer those questions. So I think the first step is really just becoming a friend of BERT.
I love it.
I see you have that nice T-shirt on there.
Yeah,
You guys are selling merch?
we are.
Oh, look at this.
Oh.
Thanks for the reminder of the swag.
Oh.
This
Look
one
at
is
that,
for
Lance.
you.
You're going to match
Lance.
Jay.
Oh, I love it.
Jay's got his on. He's a fan.
And you
And I'm going to match you.
me.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Look
Friends
at
of
this.
BERT.
On the back is
That's
the map.
that is so cool.
You don't have that, sorry.
No, that wasn't special enough.
That's so cool.
Let me see the map on the back. Oh, yeah, look at that. Very nice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank
This
you
is
so much.
awesome.
Swag can I give you? Here's some little notebooks.
Oh my gosh, how
I
fun.
love a good notebook.
This is
We
great.
are-
I
we
love
are
it.
Thank you very much.
Rich with swag.
Now, is this stuff, you also sell this on the website, I take it? Or?
We sell the shirts.
Okay, you
yes.
sell the shirts.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I think it's awesome. I'm so excited.
And we have such cool hats. I'm gonna next time. I'm
Okay, yeah,
bringing you a
hats was
hat.
mine.
Next
Yeah.
time
I
I'm
like
bringing
a
you
good
a
hat.
hat. They're
I
very
gotta
cool.
say, once this is done, I gotta ask you about maybe doing a BERT race.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Like, is that already being
So
talked about?
another thing that if
I
you're
think
a
it's awesome.
cyclist, especially, this will be our third annual ride for BERT. Will occur November 16th
Okay.
out of Coconut Point Mall, and so we'll have ways to sign up for that. And then I think next year out of Bonita Springs, we'd like to partner with some of with Rooftop and others to do a run for BERT.
Yeah.
So those are certainly plans that we have. Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Great.
We
Well-
could, I mean, we
Are you
could
guys
even-
runners?
I am.
No,
Okay. Not so much.
Not so much. I do in the workouts.
You could
when
do
I'm required
you
to,
could
but
do the ride for BERT. We
You set up a treadmill? I like to
we
run on
have
the
a
treadmill.
we have a 15-mile ride.
Said
that you
no
can
one
do.
ever. Sorry to put up with us for the last
Oh goodness!
30 minutes.
I grew up
Deb.
with
You've
all
been-
brothers. Come on,
Oh, awesome.
bring it.
Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing all this information.
Sure. Sure.
It's amazing what you're doing, and I think you're the perfect person to do it. You seem like
Oh, you're
you've
so
got
kind.
energy, and you're positive, and you're excited. I mean, I can't wait to see this
I'm
come
an
to life.
optimist. That's
I can
right.
tell.
And I think you have to
Yeah.
remain an optimist to do any kind of nonprofit work.
Yes.
And so, founding a 501c3 and calling it Friends of BERT, and actually now we have the state of Florida on their maps call it BERT.
I
Oh,
love it.
wow, that's awesome.
It didn't there wasn't a name for it, but now the state of Florida calls it BERT.
Oh, perfect.
And so we
We're in.
know they're paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, please, everybody, like and share this video if you found something valuable here that Deb said and you want to get the word out about Friends of BERT and Bonita Estero Rail Trails. Please do. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
Yeah,
inviting
pleasure.
me.
Thank you.
All right.